Horror to Me, and today I'm going to talk some horror to you. It's horror time, it's t-shirt time. Oh yeah, ranking the Purge, yeah. Also, fun talk. Today is the 3rd of June when I'm filming this, and I haven't washed my hair since the 8th of May. Today we are ranking the Purge movies.
This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual Purge sanctioned by the US government. Commencing at the siren, any and all crime, including murder, will be legal for 12 continuous hours.
I remember when the first Purge came out. It was 2013, and it was the first horror film in a while to inspire this whole, oh damn, that could really happen mentality, you know? It's like a permanent reference in pop culture at the moment. It's like, oh god, if the Purge was real, I would do X, Y, and Z. And it's never any like, oh, Purge to release the beast or to exact revenge. It's always like, oh, I would just go into Urban Outfitters and take everything. But the principle stands. And I still very much enjoy the experience of watching these films. They're action-packed, they're a little bit political, and societal commentary is pretty well executed as movies go, from the worst all the way up to the best. This is all in my opinion, which is the only opinion. You're entitled to your own opinion, but just know that if it's not mine, it's wrong. So here we go, at my least favourite. Released 3rd in the series, Purge election year came out in 2016, just months before that unwashed Tupperware Donald Trump became president, and this was definitely a less than subtle attempt to comment on what could happen if the presidency lands in the wrong hands. What did we learn? But is it just me? Or is this film sinfully boring?
And I want my candy bar. And I'm gonna take it. You don't got the balls to stop me.
Like, let's be real, I barely remember this film. And it wasn't very in keeping with the series, it was more just a political action film. Unlike the rest of them. And let's be real, I completely fall out of this film the whole way through because the timeline don't make any sense. It's just, it's wrong, right? Because remember Leo Barnes from the second one, from Anarchy? He is in this one again, but this film is set in 2040 and Purge Anarchy was set in 2023? Yeah, 2023, right? Making election year 17 years later. Why does he look the same? The same as the stranger, Dante Bishop from the first film. He's in this one too. Set 18 years after the original Purge. He looked the damn same too. I don't get it. Why couldn't you have just said it in 2024? It would have been an election year anyway. Isn't that what we find out in the first Purge? The new founding fathers were elected in 2016. Just said it then. I don't get confused and no one moans about your timeline. It really does just feel like a different franchise. It just feels like you've watched the Purge, you've watched the Purge Anarchy, and then you've put in something completely different. It's like if I watched Scream 1, Scream 2, and then suddenly put in Die Hard and acted like that was okay. And this is the last film in the chronological timeline because that woman gets elected at the end and the new founding fathers are out, so the Purge is probably gonna stop, you know?
That was Senator Rowan this morning, casting the first vote of the day. It's been a great day for the senator so far, having already won New York, California, and... Wait, hold on. I am getting word right now that the senator has also taken Florida, which puts her well over the 270 electoral votes for the win.
So as of yet, we have no insight into life after the Purge. I feel like you would have those Anarchy purgers who would just feel that it's their constitutional right to release the beast, you know, and even though the Purge isn't legal anymore, they would do it anyway. Ooh, that would be interesting. There is a 5th installment planned. After these 4 movies, the TV show, which I didn't watch, I don't know the TV show, so if something pertains to that in this film series, I ain't got any clue about it. Eventually, we are gonna get pandemic dependent 5th installment, The Forever Purge, currently delayed due to obvious reasons. But what do you think the 5th installment will be about? Will it be another prequel, or will it sit last in the chronological timeline? Let's discuss. But anyway, moving back to this video, I didn't like election year. Could you tell? To be honest, the only film I actually don't like in the Purge series is election year. So all of these 3, I pretty much like them all the same, you know? There's like little nuances that rank them higher, but as 3, I like all 3 of them. To be honest, if I was a shallower person, the first Purge would be right at the top purely because of this shot.
They like, uh-oh, counting on some shit. They like, uh-oh, you mad cause I'm rich, nigga, uh-oh.
Oh Lord! It's brilliant to delve into the backstory of the Purge. It really is. And where it all started. It's a very stark look at socio-economic factors that played into the Purge, and knowing what you know about the Purge after seeing the first 3 films, you know the kind of people who suffer on Purge night. You know the kind of people who can't just stay in, let the night go by, and carry on with their life as normal the next day. You know the people who are going to be affected, and obviously, starting with a contained Purge on Staten Island, you picked the place with the most socio-economic suffrage and the people who would be forced into participating for the money that they're going to give you. With this being the first one, they give you $5,000 to just stay at home, and they give you more money on a scale that they don't tell you if you participate in the Purge. And you've got these cool, creepy contacts, so they can tell exactly what everyone's doing. I'm not going to delve into this one too much more. You have to watch this film. You don't need me to spoil it because you're gonna go watch it. You know, it's a great film. The performances are so good in this film. All the main cast are equally fantastic, and I think they are the reason this movie lands so well. Even though it's set first in the timeline, this is set in 2017, I'm gonna guess. I guess the contacts, the cameras, the other elements make it feel like the most futuristic in the franchise. But it's not. It seems like way ahead of election year, even though election year is set like over 20 years later. Maybe I'm lying there. Maybe I genuinely just don't remember election year at all. Yo, we're doing it again. Original does not mean the best. So coming in at number 2, we have The Purge. That started it all off. The original is not always the best. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because it's not. There you go, end of the video. Bye, subscribe, like. As a standalone film, The Purge is kind of boring, but as an introduction to a concept, it's fucking dope. All the issues and rules and nuances surrounding the Purge are set up for you. They did a bad job with a great concept, in my opinion. I probably could have ranked the first Purge here and the original Purge at number 3, but I think as a setup for the franchise, I'm gonna have to give it this. I'm gonna have to give it second place. The time in our lives when Ethan Hawke was doing loads of horror films. Remember that? The creepy schoolgirl, older boy situation, which I do not fuck with. Just highlighting how stupid teenage girls are. You know, I'm sorry if any teenage girls watched my video, but you're stupid. You always are. She's mad at her parents for not allowing her to date an older boy. And look what happened.
Mr. Sandin.
James, he has a gun! Henry has a gun!
Grown-ass men, stop dating children. Lena Headey, that bitch from Game of Thrones, she's great. The Stranger is great. The polite leader can do whatever he wants to me.
Just give us the homeless pig, you fuck!
Sorry about that. I don't condone that kind of behavior. But just keep in mind, Mr. Sandin, he was my friend, and you are not.
Both the kids are annoying, and the neighbours are hysterical. Their MO, hilarious.
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this right now?
When your barricades came down, we saw an opportunity to cleanse ourselves of our hatred. You made so much money off of us, and then you just stuck it in our faces. You all think you're so damn perfect.
I can't let you do that.
We have to, Mary. That's what this night is all about.
Oh my god, all of us live in a massively rich gated community. It's so beautiful here. How dare you be slightly richer than us in this house? I know there's this whole subplot of like Ethan Hawke self-security systems designed for the Purge night, you know, like it's a big fortress. No one's getting in here if you're rich enough to buy it. you're rich enough to be safe on Purge night, but that they're more for show and they don't really do anything because things like this don't happen in our neighborhood. But it's only like referenced in their own house. You don't really see what happens to the other houses in that gated community with the apparently defunct, doesn't work security systems. I'd have liked to see the film that explores all the rich neighborhoods with the security systems that don't really work, you know? Just like what else happened on that one particular Purge night in that gated community if the security systems don't work, because that was made such a big deal of. Here we go. The reason I rank Anarchy as my favourite is because it took the premise established in the first film and completely flipped it. Anarchy did exactly what it should have done. After exploring the plight of rich people during Purge night, they went to the other end of the spectrum. We get to see what happens to the people who simply can't just stay inside, lock up and be behind a fortress. They can't do it. It doesn't exist. They can't get on a plane and flee to another country for safety. They don't have bodyguards protecting their life. We get a stark look into the everyday people, the people in apartment buildings who just have to hope that no one has an underlying grudge against them, no weird apartment building managers have sexual assault tendencies. Thanks, Noel Guglielmi. But it also introduces the truth of the Purge conspiracies. They're not conspiracies, they're true.
What is this? I'm being hunted.
For letting us purge and cleanse our souls.
How the rich people pay for poor people to hunt, and how the government are using Purge night to kill off the poorer populations, therefore lifting up the rich.
The Purge is not about containing crime to one night and cleansing our souls by releasing aggression. It's about one thing: money. Who dies tonight? The poor. We can't afford to protect ourselves.
That's enough. I can't listen to this crap. He's as full of shit as they are.
No, he's right. Come on, they're keeping the population down by getting rid of people like us to save money.
It's so fucked up. Such a genius premise for the sequel. It takes the original premise, a pretty innovative one at that, and adds on a million new layers to make it wholly its own. And then you have the underground Purge protester side of the film, working for the safety of the poorer people.
Who the fuck are you?
Nobody special. Just some people who don't necessarily agree with the Purge is all.
Fuck the new founding fathers! Fuck you! Fuck your money! And motherfuck the Purge!
A wild experience. A whole-ass action horror that never stopped. We center the whole film around Eva and her daughter, stuck in an apartment building that gets targeted by the government on Purge night. We've also got Liz and Shane, who are going through a domestic that no one really cares about, and they get stuck outside during Purge night.
Blessed be our new founding fathers and America, a nation reborn.
And we've got Leo, a loner, planning his own act of murderous revenge on Purge night. These people are pretty real as far as characters go. You can look at them and be like, shit, yeah, I understand. I'd probably do the same. You can relate, you can imagine doing the same outlandish things in these ridiculous situations, you know? They're not completely dumb, and you're not screaming at the TV saying, what the fuck are you doing, kids? Except for Shane and Liz. Why would you go out food shopping that close to the Purge siren? That was dumb.
There.
We get to explore the underground of what goes on Purge night that maybe we didn't think of before. So Eva's dad is sick, and it costs a lot of money for Eva to look after him. She works so much to make sure that he's provided for and her daughter's provided for and everything. So on Purge night, he's offered $100,000 to be a rich family's Purge victim. So they don't have to go out, they don't have to risk getting hurt themselves. They bring this poor man into their house to murder in safety, and they give his family $100,000 for the pleasure.
Look at this. What is this?
Dearest Eva and Kelly, my greatest heartache is seeing the two girls I love so much struggling in this world. I'm dying. You know this. I'll be a martyr for a wealthy family tonight. They paid me for this service. $100,000 will be transferred into your accounts, my darlings.
It's not just the Purge events that the news broadcast, it's not just the light-hearted tones they take on the radio. It's the rich people who get to own another person's life just for the sake of the money that they can give their family in their death. It's the groups of rich people who literally buy the poor people to hunt like sport on Purge night, for a show, for entertainment. I asked on my Instagram what everyone's favourite Purge film was. Please follow me on Instagram. He said it best. It takes the lore of the first one and completely flips it on its head. And that is what a good sequel does. So rather than just a different home invasion than the first one, it's almost a brand new movie. We love to see it. I love these movies a whole lot. Definitely envelops you in its own universe, full of action, gore, and I'm all about it, if I'm honest. So, I've taken a few days off of just life, like just no filming, no scripting, no editing, no anything of that, because the world is sad and I'm pretty sad about it, if I'm honest. And people who don't know me in real life, which will be, you know, most of you, like people who do know me in real life, I am an opinionated ass bitch on like every topic, which is fine. But most of you guys just kind of see me rant about movies, which, don't get me wrong, I'm very good at that. But I don't really put a whole lot of opinions out there on social media. I certainly don't take any political or any big stance like that, because I just think other people have bigger platforms and better words to speak out about important things. So I just sort of stay in my lane for the most part. But I've come to sort of realise that as long as it's the right message that you're speaking, no voice is too small. Right, we've got to talk real for a second. Yes, I'm still wearing my pyjama bottoms. Sue me. We've got to talk real. Because I don't think... I've probably been a little weird during the filming of this, but just I'm completely not ignorant to what's going on in the world, and I see a lot of viewpoints that are like, well, it's over in the US and I'm here in the UK and it doesn't affect me. But that's wrong. Of course it affects me, because it's not just a United States problem. It's very, very dumb to think that it's just because you've seen it on film in America that it doesn't happen everywhere. And it's a worldwide fight, and it's not, at least it shouldn't be, black versus white. It should be everyone versus racism. I spent so much time over the last few days, like probably 30-40 hours straight, because when your mind is very full, it's very hard to sleep. So I've just been taking the time all day, every day, to just, you know, educate myself. And I've been listening to speeches, I've been watching protests, riots, everything like that. And I could never even begin to understand what it's like. I have no idea what it's like to be a black person living day in, day out, at threat of being executed for simply existing in your own skin. And it's just not enough to not be racist anymore. Now is the time to shout and scream and use your voice and use your words to support this movement. Excuse me. Use your words to support the movement. Talking out and speaking up from all of us will go at least some way to expressing and letting the world know that this is not acceptable. It never has been acceptable. And murder in broad daylight under the guise of protect and serve cannot go on. It cannot go on without punishment, as any other aggravated murderer would receive. I'm going to put a bunch of links in the description, and there's a lot of ways to donate to the cause. Even if you don't have any money, I know that everyone is in kind of a precarious financial situation at the moment with how the world is. But there are things that we can do. We had to end this on a somber note here, because I can't, like, this is taken over, as well it should. This should be on the tip of everyone's tongue. We should always be talking about this, because we can't let it go on. Because to play it off and try and keep the mood light would be silence, and silence is to be complicit. And we cannot continue to be complicit in the brutal murder of countless Black people. Everyone has to start being an active part of the solution instead of just not part of the problem. We need to educate, we need to donate, and we need to elevate our Black friends and our Black loved ones so that they know that we understand that we will never understand, but together we stand.